Hello. Just want to make a video to go over the feature set and show how to use some of those features of a project I've been working on called Battleboard. Battleboard is a robot combat specific tool that I'm hoping can help event organizers and hosts streamline and maybe simplify the process of running an event, specifically on the media side. So it has Challonge and OBS integration built into the tool uh, to do things like help with match management, scoreboarding, timers, sponsor splashes, various things, and I'll go over and show everything it's capable of in this video. The tool itself, all of the code is not obscured, and it is completely open source and free. So I actually encourage people to go in and change it and fix it and work on it and customize it and do whatever they want with it. It's completely a community tool that anyone can have and use and do with what they want. There's a lot of stuff built into the tool for customization, so if you're not interested in the programming side of it, there's a lot of just drag and drop style tools. But the end goal really is to just have something that's simple to use that will maybe reduce the amount of manpower needed to run an event, specifically for things like putting up, this spot versus this spot with this picture and this picture. Uh, it brings it all down to just a couple of buttons, and it makes it hopefully very simple to use and easier for everyone is the goal. Um, so I'll go ahead and show the tool and show the features it has and how to use most of them, hopefully all. So right off the bat, we'll go ahead and throw up OBS. So as you can see, we have a test 25 versus test 11 showing up here on the top of your OBS stream with a timer. So that's getting pulled from this. So what the tool does is it runs a local web server on the computer that you're using to stream or record. So you can see here the source on OBS is localhost 9090, that's the default port. And this tool is mostly just a remote for that web server, and all the information that OBS actually sees comes from that web server. So like all the pictures and the timer and everything, that's all on the website, and then this is just how you manage it. So on the tool itself, right off the bat, you'll see the Challonge API key section. So in Challonge, which is what most of us, I believe, use to run our brackets, you can actually go into your settings on your own profile and get an API key that allows third-party programs to reach out and pull match data and information from your brackets. So you go in, you get your personal API key, and you enter it in here. The program automatically obscures it so that people can't like take a picture of it or walk by and see it. And once you do that, all you have to do is, for that specific event, take the URL for the brackets that you're running and put it in the bracket URL section. The tool has different classes set up, so you have like your ants, your beetles, plants, fairy. You can run these concurrently. As you can see as I switch through these, they each have a different bracket URL entered. So if you're running an event where you're running ants and plants at the same time, you can manage both of them at the same time with the software. So I've been doing some tests with the API and Challenge. So as you can see, my ant test bracket is a Swiss style bracket. And as I've been doing tests to make sure that it follows along and acknowledges completed data, I've gone through 3 rounds, and I haven't completed the 4th round. So if I go onto Challenge and hit import matches on the ants bracket, you can see round of 4, 16 matches, and it automatically jumps to round 4 because it knows rounds 1, 2, and 3 are completed, so it ignores those, and it only pulls the match data for round 4. So you can see here all the matches have been preloaded and pre-set up in order for the scoreboard with a drop-down menu, or you have the option to, next, previous, however you want to do it. So if you want to start with your first match and you're going to tell everybody, hey, if it's your turn, you get up here and you just hit next, activate. You can do it that way. If you have delays or you want to shuffle things around, you absolutely can do whatever order you want, however you want to do it. When you choose a match, you can hit activate match, and it will send those names. So go ahead and like 8 versus 20, activate match. As you can see up here at the top right, test 8 versus test 20. And if we come over here to OBS, you can see that on the scoreboard on OBS, test 8, test 20 is there. So that match completes. Your next match is going to be test 7 versus test 16. You select it, activate match, instantly changes, and you're good to go. I had to pause there for a moment to clear my throat. Apologies for that. So when you hit activate match, the matches come up here, and then they show up on the scoreboard. So you can also run custom matches. So let's say you have some robots that want to do a grudge and they're not part of your main bracket, or they want to fight under a goofy name or whatever. You can type whatever you want into this, hit activate match, and it'll throw it on the scoreboard. Just to make things simple, all the matches that you pulled from Challonge when you did your import matches will also get added to a drop-down list. And you can choose the robot off of that list as well. So like your robots that are already, they already have profiles set up and pictures and all that, you can just pick them off the list and it'll put them on there too. So if you have a robot that's not in your bracket challenging a robot that is, you can just choose the one in the bracket from the list and then do a custom one for the challenger. So let's say you've run your fight, you're done. Test 2 is the winner. You can go over here to the scoreboard preview and you can click on the robot that won and it'll pop up winner. And then I have test 1 and test 2 set up with pictures already. So there's a picture. This would be the picture of the robot. You can also turn off pictures. So as you can see up here on the sides, if I turn pictures on, you've got the picture of the robot on either side of the scoreboard. If you don't want to use robot pictures, you can just turn them off and then it won't use them anymore. Oh, it's still popping up on here. I gotta fix that. I will fix that before you guys see this, so ignore that. So the way the pictures work is if you go over here to your Battleboard folder, there's another folder inside of that called bots. And you can take the pictures of the robots, throw them in the folder, and if you have the name of the robot anywhere in the file name, it will automatically detect the name and assign that picture to that robot. So as you can see, I have test 5 here, but it's got a bunch of letters in front of it. But if I go to the Battleboard and I type in test 5, activate match, OBS, you can see test 5 is showing up, even though there's all these letters messing with it. So what it does is it basically ignores everything and just looks for the whole word. You could potentially run into issues if you have some robots with the same name. Typically you won't have that. If it is, simply add a 1 or 2. I mean, I don't see how you would have 2 robots with the same name on Challenge, but like, you can still go in and manually change it to something like this where it's test 3 with nothing else, and obviously if I run test 3, it will detect that as well, and it'll give you test 3. So if you do run into issues with the automated system, it's simple to fix, but the automated system allows you to use a third-party program like on a phone where you can set custom file names for when you take a picture. So you use an app, you tell it that this is bot 1, so then you type bot 1 for the file name, you take the picture, and it saves it as bot 1 whatever. And then all you have to do is drag that picture into the appropriate folder, whether it's an ant, beetle, fairy, whatever, and the program will automatically know, hey, I'm on the ant bracket, so if there is a picture in the ant folder with this bot name, it's that robot, and it'll automatically assign it to that bot's profile. If you don't have a phone app or you're using like a regular like DSLR camera that doesn't rename the files as you take them, I've added another tool called, it's down here, it's titled Pull Names from Challenge. So what this does is it's a little bit more complicated, but still simple and easier than going in, taking a picture, looking at it, figuring out what robot it is, and then renaming that file to robot name .png or .raw, whatever your file type is. What this does is, as long as you take the pictures in the same order that you add the robots to Challenge, it will automatically rename that picture to the name of the robot. So how that would work is if you ran your robots through your safety process. So robot 1 comes up and passes safety. Take a picture of robot 1 and then enter robot 1 in challenge. And then let's say your next robot is robot 4. Get them through safety, take a picture, and then enter robot 4 into challenge. As long as you take all the pictures in the same order that you add the robots' names into challenge, and this works on the bulk add too. So in the bulk add, you add a robot name and then you go down a line, add another robot name. As long as they're in the same order you take the pictures, if you click this button, go ahead and pull up the folder. So if you click this button, it'll automatically rename all of the pictures in order that you entered them into challenge. So these get a little off, like test 4, test 3, like those are mixed up because in challenge right now, since I've already run through the bracket, the robots aren't in the order that I put them in. So this only works on the first bracket, like the first round. Because what it does is it reaches out to challenge and it sees the order that you entered the names in, and then it looks at the order that the pictures were taken in and matches them that way. So if you've already run round 1 and you're into round 2, the order of the robot names are going to be different because challenge has submitted them in a different order. So, but if you're on round 1, you're starting your event, take the pictures in the same order that you enter the names into challenge, hit that button, and it will automatically assign the names to the pictures, and you're good to go for the rest of the event. Just make sure that you take your ant pictures and you put them in the ants folder. You take your beetles, make sure they get into the beetles folder, because the program will ignore any of the pictures from the beetles folder or the plants folder when you press that button if you're on ants. It'll only rename the ants files, which is what you want it to do. So, and then if you go to the beetles tab, you can do the same thing. So like I have a bunch of random pictures thrown in here from some events, and we'll go ahead and import matches for the beetles bracket. So the beetles is a single elimination bracket that I was testing. Or no, the beetles was round robin. So there's actually a bunch of rounds. So you click round 1 and you can see, oh, here's all the round 1 round robin fights and round 2. So the same tool will work. I hit pull names from challenge, and it'll grab them in the order that it sees them in and rename the fight. So these pictures were taken first, so it's renamed them. Test 1, Test 2, Test 3, Test 4. The pictures up here were taken later. The way the folder is sorting them is newest to oldest, but I think you get the point. It's the actual time these pictures were taken. This would have been the oldest picture in that folder by date of creation. I'll probably find a way to better explain that, or like a way to use pictures to illustrate that, but I've said it before, I'll just repeat it once more. Take the picture of the robots in the same order you put them into challenge, and then before you run your first, like before you actually start doing fights in your first bracket, hit pull names from challenge and it'll rename them, or use an app that automatically lets you put the name in when you take the picture, and it'll automatically assign the pictures to the correct robots. So let's go ahead and pull up OBS here. So one of the things that I've added is a built-in countdown timer. So there's a pop-up option. So if you have like a monitor for your cage manager to use, like if you have like a second monitor that you can point towards the cage manager, you can hit start and it'll 3, 2, 1, fight, and the timer starts as soon as it says fight. You can use this. If you don't want to use it, you have your own manual timer, or you have a different timer that you prefer to use. It's completely optional. You can just completely turn it off. So, oh, that's the countdown option. Pause. Oh, show match timer. For some reason, it was toggled off, even though it was on. So, little bug. I'm still working on the software. So right now, show match timer. You can see the timer in OBS. If you turn it off, it goes away, and then you just don't even have to use it. The countdown for the 3, 2, 1 fight also shows up in OBS. So you hit start. 3, 2, 1 fight. If you don't want that, if you want it to just start, you can turn that off, and then when you hit start, it just starts clicking down. Another feature that's been added is the on break mode, is what I call it, but it's just a general splash screen that you can throw up. That'll, let's say you're going on lunch break, you can. I guess something I should talk about with the timer is you can customize the timer with the set. So we have the preloaded ones for like quick, so 3 minute, 2 minute, 5 minute. But you can type, whatever you want. So let's say you're going to lunch for 30 minutes. You hit set, and you can go on break, and it'll automatically use the timer that's set. Start counting down. This is customizable, and I'll get into that later. I'll go over the editors that I have for both the scoreboards and the break mode. So one of the big features of this that I think will be useful to people is the integrated OBS streaming and recording. So I have a button that does start both. If you click this, mind you, you have to add this to your, you have to integrate this to your OBS. There's a way to do it. I'll have instructions. But once you've connected this program to your OBS, if you hit this, it'll start recording and streaming. Or if you just want to record and you don't want to stream, you can use just the start record button, or start stream if you just want to stream, you don't want to record. But the thing about this is you have this option here called match log trigger. So as soon as you hit any of these three buttons, start stream, start record, start both, I'm going to go ahead and hit start record. There is a log that it will create that logs every single match and the timestamp that it happens. And you can set it to make that timestamp when you hit activate match, or you can go to on timer start where the match, it'll make the log when you hit start for the fight. This is what I imagine most people use, but I have the on activate option because some people may not want to use the timer built into the software. So, and then there's also a manual. If you have manual set, you can click this button and it'll put a timestamp in the log whenever you click the button. And what it does is it creates a plain text file that will say test 1 versus test 3 and then a timestamp for the stream or recording at that exact moment that you hit either start or activate match, depending on your setting or manual. And the purpose of this is, let's say you're running an event and it's an 8-hour event and you're running a lot of fights. You hit start record, now it's making the log. So I'm going to go over here, I'm going to go to the ant bracket, and I'm going to activate match. Oh, it's on manual. I'll change this to on timer start. Sorry, switch that to timer start. Or actually, I'm going to switch it to on activate. I'll hit start record. So when I hit activate match, it creates a log. Test 2 versus test 28, and then a timestamp for when that match happened or when that button was pressed. So then that match is over. We go to the next one. We're ready to start that. I hit activate match. It's going to create another line in that log that is test 9 versus test 15 and what time that happened. And just over and over again. So now test 29 versus test 13, timestamp. You can go into your Battleboard thing here, go to timestamps. I've been playing with this a little bit, so there's a couple of extra logs. So 736 looks right. You can open the file, and as you can see, all the matches that I've been clicking have been getting logged. And you can just copy this and drop it into your YouTube description, and everyone can go find the name, find their bot name, see when they fought, click on it, and they'll know when it's at. So all these zeros here, this is a bug. I got to fix this. It's not supposed to start logging until you hit the button, and those buttons aren't supposed to be activated until you hit start record. So obviously it's been logging when I was pressing the activate match and it wasn't recording. So I'll fix that, and the version you will get, it will only start logging once you hit record or stream or both. So like I said, a few bugs to work out. It's a work in progress. This will be the first release. That's what this video is covering. And I'm sure this is going to be a long video. So let's see here. We'll go back to the program. You have new event button. If you click this, it wipes out all the event data. So like all your robot names and everything, it'll clear all that out. Your bracket links, it'll clear that. And then you have wipe data and API. This will completely reset everything. All your ports, if you've changed like your OBS ports or your local server ports, all that. Those are just function pieces. So here's what we're going to get into now. The customization. So one of the things that, oh, actually, before I go, I forgot to mention there are multiple amounts of players you can add to a round. So I've added up to 4 because I know some people do rumbles where they'll have 3 robots or 4 robots, and it'll add a slot for you to enter custom names down here at the bottom for the custom match thing. You can swap the order if you want to, or if you're running blue versus or running 2v2s where you have 2 blue versus 2 yellows, you can change it out. Uh, but as you can see, I've switched these to yellow, and there's no names up there, and the reason for that is because, oh sorry, go ahead and change these here. There's a tool in an editor, and you can add specific names for the different colors. So if you want the blue name, whatever's in the blue category, to show up, you can tell it where you want it to go, and I'll show you how that works now. So we click on editor here. It's going to bring up a web page. So this is where you can create your own themes. So like here's the default scoreboard and how it's set up. So as you can see, it's just a simple banner that I had made. It's a red rectangle with a blue rectangle, the verses in the middle. I've got the red bot, blue bot, timer, pictures. And the way to add stuff like that is as simple as, here are the elements you can add that interact with the menu. I want to add purple. I click purple, and I can adjust the size. I can put it wherever I want. I've added a grid function, so with the grid on, every 1/8 of the screen, there'll be a snap point, so you'll see it kind of like latch onto spots and kind of pause to help you align things. There's also one in the middle, and it'll also snap to the edge. It's a little hard to see, but that'll help you like align it and stuff like that. You can add, there's an upload files option. So like we'll go over here to board. I have a folder in here called board media where I have some of the banners and stuff. So you can, if you create your own, you're artistic and you want to create your own board like graphics, you put them in there. So like we'll put like the verses here. Go ahead and remove this purple one real quick. And we're going to want to add blue bot. So you can put blue bot on top of that wherever you want it. You can size it how you want. You want the picture of the robot. Again, you can change it however you want. There's also some options for adding things to make things, again, easier to simplify. So let's say you want, we'll go ahead and delete that. We'll re-add the blue photo. So blue photo means the picture of the robot. There's a toggle down here called aspect ratio. And right now it's on free, but if you click locked, as you drag the size, it'll maintain the aspect ratio that it currently has. And if you go to free by unclicking that, then you can stretch it and move it around. And that also applies for not just the pictures, but any graphic that you upload to the board at all. So like this banner here, let's say I want it to be, I think by default it's like this, but I want it stretched out like this, and then I'm moving around. I don't want to accidentally move it. I can lock it, and now when I adjust it, it'll maintain the aspect ratio that I've set it to. This also works for adding pictures, animated GIFs, videos. The videos won't have audio. This isn't supposed to be a media player though, so it is what it is. But so you can add pictures, and then like we'll go and we'll lock the aspect ratio, and now I can scale it up, move it around, put it where I want. So if you have like pictures for your sponsors or whatever, you can throw them up on the board and put them wherever you want, however you want to scale them to whatever size you want. If you want to add a little flair, you can add videos and GIFs, and it's all the same thing. Put them wherever, and they will show up. So down here at the bottom, this is where you save it. So I don't want to save over the default scoreboard, so I'm just going to call it default broken because I broke it by adding stuff. And we'll go ahead and add we'll add a WebM as well. So we'll save this scoreboard that we've made. We go to the tool, We refresh it, and default broken. So now if we go to OBS and refresh it, all the stuff we added shows up on the scoreboard. Another thing that I've added to this is sometimes it's hard to, like, when you've resized to get things the same. So there's like this picture right here. So we'll go ahead and we'll delete this just as an example. Okay, so now I've already added the red picture. I want to add a blue photo. So I go over here, I click blue photo, and it pops up here. Well, the default is not the size that I want it. I want it to be the exact same size as this. So I can actually click on it, and I can come down here, and there's this section called match size from, and I can click down and it'll show me everything that, like all the elements that I have in the scene already, and I want to match it to the red photo. So I click that, I hit match size, boom, makes it the exact same size as the red one. So I can turn the grid off because I don't want it to snap into place. Put it where I want. Line it up. And done. And then you can also see that there's like pixel locations that you can modify to like even more get it where you want. Another thing is, let's say you add a picture and it's on top of everything and you want it to be behind things. So we'll go ahead and add the picture back. Since we've added the picture last, it's on top of everything else. So if you go up here to layers, I can click on the picture and I can move it down the list. And as I move it lower on the list, things will pop up on top of it. So hopefully that's enough tools that you can really create your own custom board however you want and get everything you need out of it. You can clear everything and it'll wipe out all the overlay stuff. For the pictures, I think you still have to delete them. I should add that to the clear overlays section. Like I said, still a work in progress. And then you save it and then it shows up in the tool. So we'll go ahead and close that down. The other thing that you can do is we have the on break mode, which shows the timer. You know, by default it says on break, we'll be back soon. But if you go, lost it, to this button right here, it's the same thing, just a little bit different. So we can pick the default one, and we can change the size of the timer. We can add the break timer. We can add a text block. You know, we can make it say whatever we want down here. So don't come to my event. You can change the text color, and then like by default it's transparent, so it pops up over, you know, whatever your active source is. So you'll pop this up and you can still see the cameras going, but if you want to just completely block out the screen, you can switch to solid color, choose the color, and it'll, you know, the whole screen will be black in this instance. And you know, nobody can see the cameras running in the background. You can also upload files like you can in the other one. So again, sponsor logos, event information, you know, if you have like a lunch menu or something, whatever you want to put on here. And then you just save it, come down here, you type what you want that splash to be called, save, and it'll show up when you press the break mode button. So that about sums it up for all the features. This took a little bit longer than I was hoping it would, but hopefully I covered everything and it wasn't too much of a strain to watch. Have a good day and hope you enjoy.